Level 1, the traffic stop. You are 23 years old, and you are sitting on the curb outside your car while an officer runs your license. Speeding 31 over the limit. The kind of stop that is embarrassing and expensive and over in 12 minutes. He hands you a citation, $240. Court date optional if you mail the fine. You do not go to court. You mail the check. Nothing else happens. You eat dinner that night. You watch television. The system touched you, and you barely felt it. You have a record now. Technically a moving violation, but the record lives in a DMV database that nobody looks at unless you give them a reason to look. The fine hurt. The system did not. That is the most important thing about level 1, and the thing that misleads people about every level that follows. The system was polite. The system let you drive away. Level 2, the shoplifting charge. You are 25. You pocket a $60 item at a department store. A loss prevention officer who was watching the camera saw the pocket. He stops you at the door. He is calm and professional, and he takes you to a back room and calls the police. The officer arrives. He is also calm. He tells you the charge is misdemeanor theft under $500. He tells you your options. You are handcuffed for first time. The handcuffs are tighter than you expected and colder than makes sense. You are taken to a processing facility. You are photographed, fingerprinted. Your personal property goes into a bag with a number on it. You wait in a holding area that is not a cell, but is not a cell for 4 hours. You are released on your own recognizance. You go home. The charge follows you. Your court date is 6 weeks away. The public defender assigned to your case meets you for 9 minutes the morning of the hearing. She is not bad at her job. She has 41 other cases this week. You plead to a reduced charge, a fine, community service. No jail time if you complete the service and pay within 90 days. You complete the service. You pay the fine. The conviction stays on your record. In 4 years, when you apply for an apartment, the background check finds it. The landlord goes with someone else. In 6 years, when you apply for a job that requires bonding, the bonding company declines. In 9 years, when your daughter applies for a school program that runs background checks on household members, it surfaces again. You completed the community service. You paid the fine. You did everything the sentence asked. The sentence kept billing you anyway. That is the real sentence for level 2, not the courtroom. The record following you into rooms you are not in making decisions before you can open your mouth. Level 3, the drug possession arrest. You are 28. A traffic stop turns into a search. The search finds something small, personal use quantity, not dealing weight, but enough for a felony charge in your state, depending on the substance. The calm is gone. Now, the officer who makes the arrest is professional, but the professionalism has a different quality from a traffic stop. It is a professionalism of a process being executed rather than a citizen being served. You are a case number. Now, the paperwork begins generating itself around you. You are booked into county jail. County jail is not prison. It is worse than prison in several specific ways. It is where people wait. People waiting are not classified, not stabilized, not settled into a routine. The population is rotating and unpredictable, and the facility was designed for short stays and is almost always holding people longer than it was designed for. You share a cell with a man you do not know. Your court date is 6 weeks out. You cannot make bail. Bail is $3,000 cash or a bondsman at 10% non-refundable. You do not have $3,000. You do not have $300. You wait in county for 6 weeks for a hearing that lasts 20 minutes. Your public defender, a different one this time, same case count, negotiates a plea, 18 months probation, drug evaluation, mandatory classes twice a week. You take it. You are released. You have now lost your job. 6 weeks in county is not a sabbatical. Your employer filled the position. The felony charge, even pled down, disqualifies you from 43 federal assistance programs, most public housing applications, and in your state, the right to vote until probation ends. You are out. The sentence continues anyway. Level 4, the assault conviction. You are 31. A fight outside a bar. You did not start it. That matters for your conscience, and not especially for the law. Because what matters for the law is what is provable. And what is provable is that the other man has a broken orbital bone, and you are the one still standing when the police arrive. Felony assault, bodily harm. Bail is $22,000. You are in county for 4 months before trial. 4 months in county is a different experience from 6 weeks. You have found your rhythm. The rhythm is the thing that keeps you from coming apart. The count times, the meal schedule, the specific economy of the day. You are not surviving the chaos anymore. You are managing it. The trial lasts 3 days. The jury is out for 7 hours. Guilty, 3 years. State correctional facility. You are transported from county to state prison in a van with 8 other men. The van stops at a facility that is larger than anything you've been in. They take everything, clothes, shoes, the small things in your pockets that were still technically yours. They issue you what is yours now, a number, a uniform, a cell assignment. The cell is yours alone to start. Later you will share it. State prison is organized in a way that county was not. There is a hierarchy here that has been running for years, and that runs on its own logic, and that you will need to understand quickly. You have 3 years. That is enough time to understand it. The first thing you understand is that the hierarchy is not chaos. It is order, a different order than the one outside, built on different currencies, respect, information, protection, time, but order nonetheless. Men who have been here for years move through it the same way men outside move through an office, knowing who to speak to, when to speak, what to say, and what to leave unsaid. The second thing you understand is that your charge defines you before you define yourself. The men around you know what you are in for before you tell them through the specific network of information that moves through a facility faster than anything official ever does. The third thing you understand is that 3 years is not 3 years. It is 1,095 days of the same schedule. The schedule becomes a thing. The schedule is the only thing that makes 195 the same as 3. Level 5, medium security. You are 34. A second offense on a drug charge. Weight that suggests distribution. The prosecutor has discretion and uses it. 5 years state prison. Medium security. Medium security is where the bulk of the American prison population lives. The facility has programs, GED classes, vocational training, a library with a limited collection that is better than no library, a yard with basketball court and a weight area, and a track that some men walk for hours because walking is the only variable they control. You are assigned a job, kitchen detail, for hours a day, 23 cents an hour. Your cellmate is named Anthony. He has been incarcerated for 7 years on a violent offense. He does not talk much the first month. He talks more after that. He has a daughter. He talks on the phone on Sundays. The call costs $2.30 per minute because the contract for prison phone service in this state went to a company that charges what the monopoly allows. Your family calls. The calls cost them money. They do not have an amounts that compound across months. Visits require a background check, an application, a waiting period. 2 of your family members are disqualified by their own records. 1 cannot take the time off work. Your mother visits 4 times in 5 years. Each visit is 1 hour in a room with tables bolted to the floor and an officer watching. You think about the $60 item you pocketed at 25 and the traffic stop at 23 and how the distance between that curb and this room is made of specific decisions at specific moments that each felt survivable and together produced something that did not. You serve 4 years with good behavior. 4 years is long enough to learn the facility the way you once learned the neighborhood. Which corridors are safe at which hours? Which officers enforce strictly and which enforce technically? Which programs are worth your time and which ones exist on paper and function minimally? 4 years is long enough to watch men arrive after you and leave before you. 4 years is long enough to watch one man you knew on the outside come through intake. You nod at him across the yard. He nods back. You do not speak about the outside. Nobody speaks about the outside. The outside is both the reason you are here and the thing that is hardest to keep real when every day looks like the previous one. Anani's daughter turns 12 while he is still in. He does not say anything on the Sunday after her birthday. He walks the track for 3 hours in the afternoon. You walk with him for 2 of them. Nobody says anything. Some things do not need words. They need presence. You serve 4 years with good behavior. You are released with $150, a bus ticket, and a discharge document. The discharge document is not a pardon. It is a receipt. It says the state considers the account balanced. The account is not balanced. You will spend years understanding exactly what that means. Level 6, maximum security. You were 38, an armed robbery. Nobody was physically hurt, but a weapon was present. And in this state, that is a distinction that determines which facility you receive. Maximum security. The population here is different, not in the way television presents it, not universally violent or universally predatory, but in the specific way that a place is different when everyone in it has been assessed as requiring the highest level of containment. The assessment is sometimes right. Sometimes it is a function of which county you were arrested in, which judge you drew, which plea deal your lawyer could or could not negotiate. Your movement is controlled at a level that medium security was not. You go from your cell to specific locations at specific times through specific corridors. The freedom of movement that medium security offered, the yard, the library, the kitchen detail, still exists here, but in a more restricted form and subject to cancellation at any incident that shifts the facility's status. Lockdowns happen. During a lockdown, you are in your cell for 23 hours, sometimes longer. The cell is 7 feet by 9 feet. You have been in smaller. You have never been in smaller for this many consecutive hours. Your public defender, the one who negotiated the plea, is in a different city now. You hear this from your sister. The new attorney on your case is a federal public defender handling your appeal. She has met you once. Your appeal is denied. You have 6 years remaining. You start the GED program, not because you need it. You finish school. You have held employment because a day with structure is survivable in a way that a day without structure is not, because the alternative to filling the hours is the hours filling you. And you have watched enough men in this place learn what that costs. There is a man in the program named James who teaches the math component. He is an inmate. He has been here for 14 years on a conviction that his attorney is still appealing. He teaches mathematics with the patience of someone who has nothing but time to be patient with. He tells you one afternoon, the program does not give you the education. You bring that. The program gives you the day. You think about that for a long time. You understand it by the end of the first year. You teach the reading component in year 2, not because it helps your record, because it gives you the day. Level 7, federal prison. Federal charges carry different mathematics, mandatory minimums, sentencing guidelines that reduce judicial discretion, charges that stack in ways that state charges typically do not. A 10-year federal sentence is not the same as a 10-year state sentence because federal inmates serve 85% with no parole available. You are 41, a financial crime, wire fraud. The amount crossed a threshold that makes it federal, and the threshold is lower than most people assume. Federal prison is better maintained than state prison in ways that are visible. The facilities are newer. The programs are better funded. The medical care is marginally more accessible. It is worse in the way that matters most, which is distance. Federal facilities are distributed nationally based on population and capacity, not geography. You are assigned a facility that is 900 m from your family. Your mother is 68. The drive is 14 hours. She comes once. You are on the phone on Sundays the way Anthony was on the phone in the medium security facilities 7 years ago. The cost per minute is still set by a monopoly contract. The number has gone up. You have a financial crime conviction. The restitution order attached to your sentence is $240,000. You earn 23 cents an hour in the facility. The math of the restitution order is not designed to be completed inside. It follows you out. You serve 8.5 years. You exit into a supervised release period. 3 years of check-ins, travel restrictions, employment reporting requirements. You are 50. You start over. Level 8, solitary confinement. Not every level of the system is determined by what you did on the outside. Some levels are determined by what happens on the inside. Administrative segregation, solitary confinement, can result from a disciplinary infraction, a threat assessment, a protective custody request, or a classification decision made by people you have never met using criteria you are not fully informed of. The cell is smaller, 6 feet by 8 feet in most facilities, a slot in the door for the meal tray, a fluorescent light that the unit controls and you do not. No cellmate, no yard access in most placements, 1 hour of out-of-cell time in a confined exercise space if the facility follows the recommended guidelines, which not all facilities do, and the guidelines are recommendations rather than requirements. You were here because of an incident, not a violent incident, an argument with an officer that was documented as threatening. You will be here for 90 days. 90 days is what the research literature on solitary confinement describes as the threshold at which measurable psychological effects begin. The research exists. The policy continues. On day 62, a man named Walter who works in the mental health unit comes to your door slot and asks how you were doing. He comes every Tuesday and Thursday. He asks the question. He writes something on a clipboard and moves to the next door. He is not indifferent. He is one person covering 43 doors twice a week. You talk to him for 4 minutes on Tuesday and 4 minutes on Thursday. These 8 minutes are the most important 8 minutes of your week. You count days, not to release to his next visit. Tuesday, Thursday, Tuesday, Thursday. 8 minutes twice a week is the architecture of staying functional. You do not know Walter's last name. You will not know it when you leave. What you know is that he comes on Tuesdays and Thursdays and asks how you are doing and writes something on a clipboard and moves to the next door. That regularity. The simple fact of a person appearing when they said they would appear is the most stabilizing thing in the cell, not the content of the conversation, the keeping of the schedule. You understand something in those 90 days that you will not be able to fully explain to anyone who's been in a space that's small for that long. That human contact is not a comfort. It is a requirement. The way water is a requirement, not a preference, not a nicety, a biological necessity that the research literature documents and the policy continues to underweight. Day 90 arrives. You are moved back to general population. The yard feels enormous. You stand in it for a long time before you move. The sky is the same sky it was before. It looks different. You decide not to examine why too closely. You just stand there and let it be the sky. Level 9, release, and the real sentence. You are released on a Tuesday morning. The clothes they return to you are the ones you were wearing when you came in. They do not fit the same way. You have a discharge document, a debit card with the money from your prison account, and a list of reporting requirements for your supervised release. The debit card has $47 on it. You walk to the bus stop. The bus stop is 3/4 of a mile from the facility. You walk it carrying a clear plastic bag that holds everything you are allowed to take out. The bus takes you to the nearest city. You are required to establish residence within 72 hours of release to satisfy your supervision conditions. Establishing residence requires a deposit. A deposit requires income. Income requires employment. Employment requires a background check. The background check finds everything. You apply to 19 jobs in the first month. 11 do not respond. 6 respond, and then do not respond further after the background check. 2 offer positions. One is a warehouse job at $14 an hour that does not ask about your record because the labor need exceeds the preference. You take it. You are 51 years old, and you are starting over with $14 an hour and a restitution order and a supervised release period and a record that will appear in every background check run on you for the rest of your life in most states. The system released you. The sentence did not end. The sentence changed shape. It became the thing that follows you into every room, every apartment application, every job interview, every form that asks a question, and expect the honest answer, and then uses the honest answer to make a decision about what you are allowed to access. You made the decisions that produced this. That is true. It is also true that the distance between a traffic stop at 23 and a federal sentence at 41 is a system as much as it is a biography. That the first fine was $240, that the community service disqualified you from your shift for 6 weeks and cost you the job, that the job loss produced the circumstances that preceded the drug charge, that the drug charge produced a record that disqualified you from most of the assistance programs designed for people in exactly your situation. That each level of the system processed you and handed you back slightly less equipped to avoid the next one. That is not an excuse. An excuse is a replacement for accountability. This is an addition to it. Both things are true at the same time. The decisions you made and the system that was waiting at every point where those decisions could go wrong. Understanding both is not the same as excusing either. It is just the whole picture, which is the only picture worth looking at. The warehouse job is still there on Tuesday. You put on clothes that fit differently than they used to, and you go. That is what starting over actually looks like. Not a moment, a Tuesday. If this one changed how you see the system, share it. Subscribe if you are new here. Every week, this channel goes somewhere most people only ever look at from the outside.